Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. This week I'm at a location it's less than half an hour from where I live, and yet I don't think I've photographed it in the last 12 years. But weirdly, two other photographers that I follow here on YouTube have been at this location in the last couple of weeks, and in the last maybe week or so, two of my subscribers have got in touch and asked if I've ever been here. So I figured the fates were sending me here, and I've decided to come up and have a look, see if we can make some images. I'm at the Campsie Glen, just to the north of Glasgow. While I'm on the subject of people suggesting locations, if there's anywhere you'd like to see me attempt to photograph, then leave me a comment or drop me an email, and we'll see what we can do. So for anybody that's not familiar with the location, it's essentially just a series of falls that tumble down from the Campsie Fells through a wooded glen, the Campsie Glen. And some of the falls can be quite photogenic. So here we have, as you can see, we have some falls there, we have some falls there, and just up ahead we have the main falls. If you're the sort of person that comes to a beautiful spot like this and leaves food wrappers, socks, empty cans, water bottles, then you need to take a look at yourself. Right, so as I said, these are the main falls. I'm probably not going to shoot from this precise spot, but thankfully I've got the wellies on. What I'm going to do is go over to the other side first and see if there's a shot there. Okay, let me talk you through this first composition, which I'll put on the screen just now, and I'll explain to you why I think it can be improved. And the main reason is, from where I'm shooting, which is about here, you can't see the base of the falls. It's hidden by that big boulder. So I'm either going to have to try and get a little higher, like this, but then I'll run the risk of losing this fall here, which is actually my foreground interest, plus these leaves, etc. So I'm going to have to try and get higher or get closer. I'm going to have a look around, see if I can find a slightly more elevated position which doesn't lose these falls as a foreground. There's actually a coat hanger there. Who brings a coat hanger to a place like this? Right, as you can see from this shot, I've managed to extend the tripod as far as it will go, and that's got me a little bit extra height, and that in turn has allowed me to include the base of the falls, so that gives it some scale now. I've still got this foreground cascade, which is what I'm focused on. I'm shooting f/16, so it should all be in focus. In order to retain some of the detail in the falls though, I've had to reduce the shutter speed. I was shooting at, well, my recommended shutter speed was 4 seconds, and I thought that was just too long because that was going to then blur the water completely. I've increased the ISO to 200, and that has allowed me to increase the shutter speed slightly. I'm now shooting at 1.5 seconds, and that has given a much better effect when it comes to the running water. I've actually just noticed all the way through shooting this that there's a bit of black plastic bag there floating in the water. That'll be getting cloned out as well. Who does that? Absolute idiots. Right, and here's an example of a decision that went wrong. I've come closer to the falls. As you can see, I'm now right up at the rocks that were forming the foreground of the last image, and that's obviously given me more of the fall and the pool of water behind it, or below it, sorry. But in doing so, I'm pretty much level with that little cascade, and I've effectively lost it in the image. Even though I'm shooting on a 16mm lens at 16mm, it's still fairly obvious that I'm not going to be able to include that and that in the same image. So I'm going to have to try and look around for either a better angle on this, or maybe just discard this altogether and see if we can make something with that little cascade there instead. So we'll keep looking around. Right, slight compromise. What I've done is I've moved slightly over. I'm actually standing in the water now. I've moved slightly over. I'm directly above that fall that I was shooting, which is allowing me to include more of this little cascade. The downside is we lose the bottom of the fall again thanks to that rock. So, and the tripod is as extended as I can get it. So it's a compromise. I might move slightly further over. There looks to be a rock under the water there that I might be able to stand on, and see again if that allows me to use more of this cascade and go back to including the base of the falls, because the base should be in this gap between these two boulders, but then I definitely lose this cascade. But like I say, it's all about compromise. Now, what I'm going to do is work my way around, see if there's any images to be had from that side of the pool. Ah dear. Right. Well, I found this location, but I'm sure you can see just now what the problem is. Broken glass, cans everywhere. I might try to take a shot in the hope that I can clone them out later on. But whoever's doing this, you need to take a long hard look at yourself. That's absolutely disgraceful. People come up here and swim. I've seen people swimming in that pool and there's shattered glass everywhere. Absolutely disgraceful. Anyway, is there a shot? Right, here's another composition that I've kind of settled on. I'm still going to have to clone out the glass and the can here, but I've got the waterfall coming in kind of top right. You can still make out the base of the fall, which is good, which is what I've been trying to achieve. You've got the hint of a little cascade here, and a little cascade here. My main problem here is actually exposure. These rocks are actually brighter than the waterfall, and currently brighter than the sky in the background as well. So I'm having to do two exposures, one for the foreground rocks and one for the rest of the scene. If I go a little wider, you can see that. I might actually improve the composition slightly if you go a little wider. I'll probably take this shot as well, but then I introduce a new problem in that the sky here might burn as well. It is what it is. I'll turn this back onto camera mode and grab this shot just now. If it's worked, I'll stick it on the screen. Right, let me talk you through this composition. I've come over to the side of this little pool now, and I'm using this fallen log as a foreground, leading up to the falls. Now, I'm too close to the log and I'm too close to the falls to fit it all in one shot again. So what I've done is I've done a 3 image panorama, which I'll try and stitch together. It's in vertical format, and I've started here and just included the falls on the edge of the frame like that, and then I've taken another one where the falls are in the centre of the frame, and then another where the falls are at the right hand edge of the frame. Now hopefully that'll be enough overlap for me to stitch them together in post-processing. In my mind's eye I see it as maybe a 3x2 or a 4x3 rather than square or an actual out and out panorama. I did actually have another image set up down here before I discovered the remains of an old barbecue and some bottles without messages as far as I can tell. So anyway, that's what we're dealing with here today. I'm going to move slightly more in this direction, have the fall pretty much centre frame. See if we can maybe even include the top of the falls, because we're missing that just now because of this rock outcrop. What do you think make of this? I've come up off the water side onto the rocks just next to this cave and the detritus of an Ed outing by the looks of things. What I like is actually this overhanging branch. I quite like that, and I like the colours that have just started to turn in the trees here. So I might do a vertical crop and include this branch in these trees and see if we can make an image there. If I come round just a little bit, you can still see that log that I was including earlier, so that might be another option. But a vertical, I think, to make use of those colours. I'm going to move from this location because, to be brutally honest with you, it's actually quite depressing seeing the amount of rubbish that there is scattered around. I'm going to move from here and see if there's anything to be had from that secondary fall that I passed on the way here. Right, I'm up out of the midden, which is the top fall. Just going to make my way along past the underwear and the shoes and things down to this secondary fall. Notice this little cascade here and this one here, and I just stopped to see if there was a shot here. The problem is going to be, as I'm sure you've guessed from what I've been going on about, this one you lose both the top and the bottom of the falls, so you don't really get a sense of scale. We also have somebody's towel there. Ah, dear. I'm going to clamber over these rocks and see if there is a shot with that little cascade that you can see in the centre there, but I'm not hopeful. To be brutally honest with you, the way I'm feeling just now about this location, this could well be my last visit for a long time, so I'm going to try and make about what I can. It's an absolute disgrace, it really is. I like that, the way the water's kind of rising up over the lip of that rock. I might see if there's a close-up image to be had there, but first we'll worry about this one. I've come to the other side of the socks and underwear, and just down from the strawberry daiquiris and wastewater to see if there's an image here. I've swapped lenses. I've got the 20-40-105 on, and I'm up around about 80 mils at the moment, and I'm doing that so that I can try and get this cascade in the foreground, that secondary cascade there, and then the main falls all relatively close to each other. I've taken the shot anyway, focused on the foreground here. I've set an aperture of f16. It's a 1 second exposure at ISO 100. But yeah, I'm going to quickly see if there's a shot where that little arch of water was flipping up over the ridge of that rock there, and then I'm going to move on down. Small rant before I go any further. Do you ever find when you're out on a location that the location itself can affect your mood? And in this particular case, it's not really the location that's affecting me, it's the condition. It's the rubbish, it's all the litter that's lying around, it's the obvious disregard for the spot by whoever it is that's coming here. It's really annoyed me. So if it comes through in the images, it'll be quite interesting to see if it comes through in the images. If I produce a series of very negative images, then hopefully you'll forgive me. That's the reason, because it's kind of affecting my mood quite a bit. I just spotted somebody's swimming costume on the other side of the water. Someone's conveniently left some rope to get down here. Anyway, in for a penny, right? We have another accident-prone rock. Right, well, I've just got to the bottom of that little roped area, and straight away I feel my mood rising, because this is a much better spot. I might actually take a shot from here, kind of more distant shot, because I love these ferns growing out of the rock there, and you know, just a larger shot here. And then I'm going to go down to the water, see if we can make something with this reflection, that deeper pool, and these green mosses. But this looks like it's got a lot more potential than that topmost fall. Right, what do you make of this shot? I had actually intended to shoot the boulder with the fern, which is behind this growth in the tree, but when I sat down and saw that I could actually include the growth in the tree, I've set up for this image first. I'll get a little higher after this, and then I will shoot over this down onto the rock. But I think that looks okay. That looks like you've got, obviously this is your foreground interest, the pool here and the reflection of the fall is your kind of midground, and then the fall is the background. I kind of like that. I don't know whether it'll work as a shot, but I'm here, I'll take it, and if it's any good I'll pop it on the screen just now. Right, yeah. I like this shot. I really like this shot. This could be my favourite shot of the trip. We're focused on this rock with the ferns. I've got this beautiful light along the top here. The waterfall, the reflections, the details in these boulders in the water. And I'm cutting the frame off just before we hit this ledge here. I'm actually including some of these leaves on this foreground tree, knowing that they're going to be out of focus, but in the hope that I can use them to maybe frame the shot. See these leaves here? I think if they can be, they kind of frame the shot. It might not work, in which case I'll crop it out, but at the moment that's the theory, is that's the image. And I do like that. I like the reflection here. The falls, these rocks. So it could well just be a square crop, but I'm taking a wider shot with these leaves in it as well, just in case. Of course, my problem here is that there's nothing really to give it any scale. So, you know, like a discarded beer bottle or a pair of socks, or, you know. Right, how you doing? No, you going to swim in that? Eh? You're keen? Is it quite deep? Is that right, huh? Huh? Every morning? Aye, what the hell, man? I'm waiting you up there. You do. Alright. Aye. You don't go in the one at the top, do you? That's full of glass. I was up there earlier and it's so. Right, so I was just in the middle of taking the shot that I've just showed you there. And these two fellas turned up. They're going to do some swimming in that big deep pool there. Brave guys, I tell you, it wouldn't be me. They've just dived straight in. They're swimming in that deep pool now. So that's it for Campsie Glen. I don't know if you can spot, but my mood's improved dramatically. Those lower falls are amazing, and the fact those guys turned up to swim in there is just made my morning. It was funny. It would not be me. Anyway, I'm going to call it a day for this location. Had to leave because those guys are going to be swimming for a while apparently, and there's only so many shots you can take of bare-torsoed men swimming in the water. It's not that kind of channel. So anyway, in the meantime, hope you enjoyed. If you did, give us a little thumbs up. Before I went down there, I was convinced I was never coming back, but that lower fall makes it worthwhile. So if you're in the area, certainly pay it a visit. Just don't come too early because you might catch the guys skinny dipping again.